welcome to the Swift Half, your weekly session of chat from the UKOCR and adventure running scene. Each week, pub landlord Alan and our favourite regular Ian discuss races, runners and anything else that comes to mind. So pull up a pew, pour yourself a drink and join us for the Swift Half.
You're listening to the 57th most popular podcast for people who enjoy yoga, and his friend Boo Boo and Mr. Ranger.
Ian, my friend, welcome to the Swift Half again. How are you?
I'm good, Alan, and guess what?
What?
We are in late June now. We're actually gonna, as this goes out, we're at summer solstice.
Summer solstice. Do you know next Wednesday, I want to say next Tuesday, yeah? So if you listen to this, on Tuesday, it's exactly 6 months to Christmas.
Wow. Exactly 6 months.
Exactly 6 months on 25th of June, isn't it?
It is. And do you want the bad news, Alan?
What's the bad news?
Have you been enjoying this sunlight to 9 p.m., 10 p.m.?
I have, yeah. I actually like this, and this coming Friday, so not as people listen to this now on Friday, but the Friday after, I'm going to be doing a homemade. Do you remember when I did the drop in Leeds?
Yes.
So we've been talking about it for a while, and we've been saying we want to do it again, but there's none round here. So we've got a friend, we've given him a 20-mile radius and said, you've got to drop us off anywhere within this area, within a circle of Barnsley, and we're going to try and make it home on the Friday. So yeah, and that's because of the sun, we're going to do it at like 8 o'clock at night. And that's because it's still light.
It is still light. I'm just going to pick at that first, and then I'll go back to the point I was trying to make. But are you taking Libby and Linda with you?
We got them lost last time. No, it's just me, Rob, and Jamie. We've got our friend Neil who's gonna pick us all up, and we're gonna get blindfolded. We're gonna pop a blindfolded, just like we did on the drop, and yeah, he's gonna. Only he knows. We don't know where we're going. No technology, no nothing. We're gonna turn his watches on when we land there. Or Neil's gonna do it. And we're going to put them in a sealed bag, and we're going to try and make it home.
What happens if a policeman spots Neil whilst he's doing this? Because when it's an organised thing like the drop, you can get away with it. When it is a single man with 3 people in blindfolds in the passenger and back seat, have you thought this through?
Yeah, that would be absolute. That's a story if it happens. That's a story in the making. Now everyone here is going to be ringing up and saying 7:30 Barnsley. Police keep an eye out for a man abducting 3 strangers, aren't there?
More than likely, he's just going to have to say, "Don't worry, officer, it's a stag do."
Yeah, it's a stag do. You know what the hardest part about doing it though is going to be keeping Jamie and Rob out of the pubs. You know, Friday night, 8 o'clock at night onwards, it's going to be that. We've got to somehow find a way back where we don't pass any pubs, but we don't know where we're going to be. So that's going to be the hardest point for me.
The hardest point, I think, other than the pub, which I can accept, is the fact that when it's done as a race, it would be done as a kind of challenge, but they'll drop you off where they think the average person will figure it out. Neil, however, will probably go out of his way to drop you in some cow field in the middle of, I don't know, Holmes Chapel. That might be 20 miles away from Barnsley. I'm pulling a name out. And just leave you there. And he won't care.
You know, that is sort of exactly what we were all talking about the other night at running. We were saying that Neil's going to pick the most devious place that he can think of, you know. Yeah, we have thought about that. But I don't know. Within 2 miles of running, I'm sure we'll find a sign. And once we've found a sign, we know South Yorkshire well enough to say, okay, so we roughly know where we are now. It's got to be in this direction.
You trust him to do the 20-mile radius?
Yeah, I do, yeah. Yeah, I don't. He's fairly sensible, Neil. He's the most sensible one out of all 4 of us. So if it were Jamie or Rob who were dropping us off, I'd be saying, no, I don't trust him to drop us within a 20-mile radius.
In Rob's case, it probably wouldn't have been malicious. It would have been he was genuinely lost, and that's why you ended up in Doncaster or Hull.
Yeah, more like Doncaster is actually within 20 miles of me, so I think it's only 16 miles Doncaster, and that's one place we don't know. So if he actually dropped us off and at 4 miles other side of Doncaster, not a lot of us know that side of it. Moor Ends, Thorn, places like that. Know the names, but I wouldn't know where we are when we got dropped off there.
It's a good job that it's just you and me talking, and we're not going to get hundreds of people listening to this episode, isn't it?
It is, mate. Yeah, yeah. It's just me and you just in the pub talking, and no one here Wiggins, so we're absolutely fine. Anyway, summer, late nights. Where were we going with late nights?
We were going with the depressing news that it's going to start getting dark again.
Oh yeah, yeah. But then there's also an advantage to that. Alan needs a new head torch.
Alan does need a new head torch. Are you going to get a black diamond so you don't die?
No, I love silver head torches. I love silver and Petzl, so it'll be one of them two. I had two silver head torches and two really really good ones. I lent one to Rob that I haven't got back, and I don't know where that is. I'm hoping that he takes it on the run next week. And I don't really know where my other silver one is because I took it down to Overload and I haven't seen it since. I wonder if it might be Caravan somewhere, hiding somewhere in Caravan.
You need to have a little clip on it. You know that you can find your head torch, because I do this. I go through head torches because they do come in handy. Like if you're going in the loft, if you're going in the cellar, if you're like you say, if you're in the caravan, they come in handy. But you then just put them down, and then if you don't use them for 3 months, you can never find them again.
True. I didn't need to be 3 months in. I've got Apple AirTags and everything. So I've got an Apple AirTag on my wallet. I've got one on my keys, so I don't lose any of them. I've got one in my caravan, so I don't lose my caravan. I've got one in my car, so I don't lose my car. I've got AirTags everywhere because I'm someone who does lose things. Hence, I've lost the head torch at this moment in time.
What happens if you lose your iPhone?
Well, I've actually got it on my iPad as well. And I also have, although I don't use it, I have a MacBook. So I've got a really old MacBook that I don't really use. So I can actually load that up and find them on that as well if I wanted to. So, yeah.
Okay, so you are prepared from that point of view. But, right, should we talk about what we're drinking and stuff, given that we've just explained how you're going to get lost next week and how I'm going to be auditioning for a new landlord?
A new landlord. I'm determined to get you a new landlord, aren't I? Going away and getting locked up in Turkey and now going to get lost and things like that. So, yeah.
Don't take hints really well, but between trying to get me a new landlord, between the fact that you've done maybe 3 interviews this year for the UKOCR podcast, is there something you try to tell us all?
No. So before we talk about what drinking, though, have you listened to this? You might not have listened to it because I know you don't always listen to mine. But this week I had Andy Baines-Vosper on. It's been out a while to us Patreons because I recorded it about 3 or 4 weeks ago. And I put it out to us patrons because I thought it was a great podcast, all about mental health and things like that. So did you get to listen to it at all?
It's lined up for my long run. I listen to your stuff on my long run. Yeah. That's what I listen to. And my long run is coming up on Sunday. So I probably should get on the Patreon train because I'm always like 6 days behind on the UKOCR because my long run is either Saturday or Sunday. And that's when I listen. But don't spoil it, but tell me stuff about it.
I'm not going to spoil it for you, but in fact, no, I'm not going to spoil it to anybody, but it's about men's mental health. And just anyone who is suffering out there, we all suffer from mental health at some point. Go back, just go and listen to it, people. It's great. There's help on there and guidance. I just want to say to people, just go and listen to it. It was one of my favorite podcasts, and I've had some good feedback on it already. So if you've not listened to it, people, just go back and have a quick listen. So, mental health. Drinking's mental health to some people, not to everyone. What are you drinking tonight, Ian?
Well, today I am helping my mental health by having a Robinson's Raspberry and Apple. I have no clue whether I've had this on the show before, but it's delicious and the tennis season's coming, so that's why I thought I'd have Robinson's.
Bit of tennis season, I like that. Robinson's. Is it like cordial, or do we call it squash in the States?
I am not sure. It says there's real fruit in every drop, but it also says it's got a bridge in London to sell me. So I'm not quite convinced here. For those people who didn't get that was sarcasm. There's no bridge to be bought, sadly, but you can win tickets by scan here to enter. I'm not sure what that's for. It actually doesn't say. This is hilarious.
Scan here to enter, but it doesn't say what you're entering or anything.
He literally, beg your pardon, right in the middle, win tickets for 100 at cricket. Oh my God, that sounds like a booby prize.
Yeah, going to watch cricket and win to watch cricket. I like that. Yeah, that's a booby prize.
Yeah, first prize is 1 ticket, second prize is 2.
Well, last week I had to drink the beer that Michelle gave me, and she actually messaged me and said she didn't like the whole idea that I actually enjoyed it. She wanted it to be really awful. So we have got the second beer on the list today, which is another Bateman drink, XXXB, so triple XB, classic pale ale with a Moorish flavour, 4.8%. Drinking it live on air, by the way, Ian. Testing it live on air. Another good one, Michelle. Thank you very much. Oh, that is nice, that. It does taste strong, though.
You actually reminded me of something, Alan. Before we get into OCR stuff, do you remember last week when I mentioned that after your barbecue, I had a little bit of a hangover despite not drinking any real alcohol?
Yeah.
Last Saturday, I had just an Elvis juice, an Elvis AF.
Yeah.
Just one, just half a pint. And then the next day, I didn't feel well either. I am wondering if there is something in Elvis AF that's disagreeing with me because I had it at your barbecue as well.
I think it's probably lactose because I think it's high in lactose. I really do. I think because some of the BrewDog AFs, especially the citrusy ones, I do tend to find that they're high in lactose, and I get a headache if I've had 3 or 4 of them the following morning. It feels like I've had a proper drink, night before. I get that same fuzzy head feeling sometimes.
It was just completely bizarre, and I couldn't explain it. But yeah, Sunday again was hangover without actually doing the fun thing to deserve one.
I think the people who was at this last week's OCREC all woke up with a hangover on Sunday and Monday because they did it absolutely amazing. Did you watch any of it, Ian?
I watched as much as I could on our feeds. Thank you so much, Claire, as always. You know what was a joy, Alan, is the fact that it almost happened overnight because it was in Europe, of course, and because they started early. It was almost like that elf thing where I woke up on Friday, looked at my phone, and saw hundreds of likes on various things that UKOCR had shared. It's like, I don't remember doing that. And I know that Alan's not up at this time. And then I checked it and it was all the good work of Claire.
Absolutely amazing. Big thank you, Claire Rosser, again for doing all that. You are becoming the person to go to. I think what we need at some point, Ian, is we need Claire in the room doing the commentary, and me and you need to be going out and doing the running around and things like that and giving her a break.
I would absolutely agree to that. All we need is about 500, 600 more Patreons, and then we could probably just about afford to check a bag in, which we could sneak in to get over to these races.
We do. Speaking of patrons, quick off subject thing. Big thanks to Wayne Grumpy because he's joined us on the Patreon train this week.
Oh, Grumpy, thank you so much. Can we claim him as a High Rocks Patreon? I know he's been in OCR longer, but it always makes me feel a bit bad that we've got maybe 2 or 3 people who are exclusively UKHXR, and we love them. We absolutely love them. But it always makes me feel a bit bad that we don't have as many. So can I claim Grumpy?
You need to ask Grumpy for whether he's joining because of IROX or Fitness Racing, or whether he's joining because of OCR. Grumpy, if you're listening, don't tell Ian it's IROX because it'll go to his head.
But welcome, Grumpy. Have we put him in the pub yet?
I think he's been in the pub for a little while because we've reached out to him several times for things to help us out. So he is one of our close friends. So it's good that people who are in the pub, and because not everyone in the pub are patrons, some of them are just close friends and that. And I'd have no issues putting a lot of people in it it was just the way it just founded as a private group to chat and about the podcast. So yeah. I've got some results. So I haven't got all the results here, but I've got them all off British Obstacle Sports. So a big thank you to British Obstacle Sports because, and I'll tell you why I've got them off here, Ian, because I've gone on. So I signed up for the media pack. Yeah. So every day I got the media pack come through. It's so hard to understand, Ian, because there's different, the results are just not like all in one lump sum. You've got to go into each one and so forth. And then you scroll down and then another page and, oh, it was so hard to do. So I'm going to say a big thank you to whoever put them together on the British Obstacle Sports, because I'm going to read them from the British Obstacle Sports page. Are you ready?
I am, but let's talk about media packs after we've done this. So carry on.
Cool. Gold for the Adaptive Athletes team, Jamie Gaines, supported by Darren Martin and Chris Shipley. 10th was the mixed team was Fedi Di Carrier, Dassos Ganella and Jason Brunnock. 6th on the women's team, Becky Neal, Shyla Dehaney and Karen McQuarrie. 4th on the men's team, Dan Titcombe, Russell Walsh, Morgan Maxwell. And then other performances of note from the elite athletes. So this is only the elite athletes talking about. 3K women's, 20th was Federica Di Carrier, 28th Becky Neal, 31st Cheryl Beach. 3K men's, 19th Russell Walsh, well done Russell, ICE UK runner there. 27th Morgan Maxwell, 37th Dassos Ganella. 12K women's, 21st Federica Di Carrier, 28th Karen McQuarrie, 31st Becky Neal. And in the 12K men's, Dan Titcombe, 20th, ICE British one there. Russell Walsh, 24th, Jason Brunnock, 33rd, Morgan Maxwell, 41st, and Dassos Ganella, 54th. So some amazing results on that out there. There was a lot of other things out there. I think the elite, the 100 sprint, Beth Lodge got 3rd, I believe. Jamie Gain got gold. Chris Harris was silver. Harrison Hendricks was silver, and Oliver Addy was gold. And then the team 8K relay, Jamie Gain, supported by Chris Shipley and Darren Martin. I think I've already mentioned that one. But yeah, some great results out there. So well done to everyone who was out there. It sounds like one of the best organised ones. So I know Becky was captain and Jamie was vice captain. I think it was that way round. From the comments I've received from some of the athletes that went out there, it was one of the best organised events that they've been to. Still not 100% perfect, and we things are can always get better. But I've had very little negative feedback. And I mean, I've actually had about 2 or 3 comments out of everything. So yeah, big well done to them.
Well, I would be worried if there wasn't a single negative comment, because we'd have to check the passport to make sure they were truly British.
Yeah. That's a good point. The comments were about the race, though, not about the Team England, but Team UK. It was about the race and the organisation, but it was good. Everyone's just said it was like super good. What did you want to ask me about media packs?
Well, not ask, more of a plea to anyone out there who wants promotion, and not just through us, but through anyone. Make your media packs idiot proof. I know this is going to sound like a bit of race, but sometimes, Alan, we don't half get a little bit of rubbish. Should we be polite? And yeah. It's a press release that you can't really use, and you feel guilty for not using it. So just if you're ever going to promote something, use the media. That's what we are all here for. We all want to promote you. You don't need to spend a lot of time on it, but just make it idiot proof. Like Alan just said there, he couldn't figure out the results, because when it came to that, Alan, a long list, I reckon, just with everyone's name and their country would have been perfect, wouldn't it? Just a PDF.
Yeah, it would absolutely. I've got to admit, I mean, it's the only negative thing I had about the media packs, because they were really, really good communication-wise. I mean, we made a mistake because I registered myself as media rather than Claire. So then when Claire got there was a little bit of a conversation that went 3-way in emails, and and they went, yeah, no problems. We can see Alan's done it, but you come instead. Because I didn't put Claire down as a named on it, but it was me who was supposed to pick all the packs up. But it was great how they sent the emails out, where you had to meet, pick up your presses and stuff, press packs and stuff like that. Quickly talking about media there, Ian, I don't think OCR has enough media packs. So we know we speak to Spartan, and we're on Tough Mudders, and we're on Spartan's PR packs. But I don't think everyone in all the races are on it. And I know Overload doesn't, and maybe it's something I need to look at, because I think it would be good to actually have a media database where, if you're a race organizer, you want to go and promote your race to that media, why wouldn't you create a media pack and get people to come along and stuff like that? Maybe something I need to look at, but it just brings me around to, we talk very, very much about OCR and not hitting the numbers on some races. And I think maybe as race directors, we don't employ PR firms. The small races don't employ PR firms. Nuclear have it all in-house, as far as I'm aware, it's all in-house. Tough Mudder do, Spartan do, but I can't think of any others. Maybe Rat Race. I don't know if Rat Race have a PR firm, or if that's all in-house. And I can't really think of many events that do have it. Total Warriors all in-house. But, them big events should really have, press packs where you, as a media, you would register to become media for them, and then you would get the press packs and everything else that came out, the results and things like that. Maybe it's something we can think of.
Yeah, and you know what, Alan? Just thinking about what I sometimes get from High Rocks, with High Rocks, sometimes it's as simple as just sending us the athlete pack.
Yeah.
It's as simple as that, because you're doing the job anyway. Just send that pack to the media, and if they use it, great. If they don't, it costs you an email. And often the athlete pack has so much useful information, because we're always looking for additional content, and people love it when you just put up, oh, this race is happening, here are the details. People really interact with those kind of posts.
Yeah. Maps, things like that, just sending maps out to people. With High Rocks, seeing basically where the rock zone is and the course, because I know you speak a lot about that in your preview shows. It's something that we probably don't do enough of.
It's actually fascinating how interested people are in that kind of thing. I'm giving away our secrets a little bit here, Alan, but you see the numbers, because you see the back end as well. Those posts get so much love.
Yeah. A map post, I can't believe how just putting a map out gets so much love on the back end, and so many views, and it not just likes, but actual views. The views are huge, in the thousands.
Absolutely. And again, you're doing the work anyway. You just need to remember to send an email out. And like I say, you might have 20 names on your email list, and maybe one person does something with it. But at the end of the day, that's still one more person promoting your race.
Yeah. I mean, we share a lot on the UKOCR Facebook and Instagram accounts. And I do actually see some posts. So if, for instance, I share a picture, so we'll just say Tough Mudder's picture, I like it, I share it, it gets love. It gets a bit of love. But if I put the same picture on that's not shared, so it comes direct from UKOCR account, it's not a shared picture, we actually get 4 and 5 times more love. So that's where the press packs would be better off coming out and saying, look, here's a press pack. Can you do this? Can you promote this?
No, absolutely. And random pictures as well. So if you're sharing your pictures on Facebook, yeah, it might be a little bit of work to send us the pictures, but maybe just drop us a line and say, oh, here's our pictures on Facebook. Use whatever you want. And then if we just share a carousel on the UKOCR Instagram, it gets love because it's fresh content as far as Instagram's concerned.
What's the thing that Will shares with it? Google Drive. I think it's free Google Drives. Wouldn't it be great if everyone had their own Google Drive and just shared a link to that? So just put all your pictures in that. So let's just say High Rocks created one. They put all their pictures in there, and everyone and media could access them. Overload created one, and all the media people could just access that and take them from there, and that could be a good way of doing things.
Oh, or I wonder, again, I'm not sure with Google Drive. Personally, I don't really like Google Drive's great. What we'll use is Google's Photos, which I don't like, but Google Drive is excellent. Google Photos is weird because every time I download it, it then downloads of all the random pictures I've got on my phone. So, all of a sudden I had no memory on there. But anyway, Google Drive is excellent. I wonder, Alan, could Boss set one up and then give access or drives to various races who could then just upload it, and then Boss would just send out the link. And once you put it up there, anyone could use it.
That could be even a better idea, and then that's Boss helping everyone else media packs into it and things like that, because we do have a little media chat, giving some secrets away again, but we're about sharing things. There is a media chat where quite a lot of the media people are in, and someone asks us to share things. It usually comes from maybe James or Donna or Vince or me or whoever comes and says, "Can we just share this?" And quite often everyone jumps on and shares it. But it'd be great if we could all have access to. But I don't know if Boss could do it, but I'm thinking maybe Total Warrior give all the media access to all their stuff. Overlord, we give access to all the media people, because I think you'd probably have to control it yourself for data purposes. For GPDR, I'm not sure. But worth looking at, though. Definitely worth looking into it.
Definitely worth looking into. And yeah, with High Rocks, as you see, they always send us a link to a shared drive. We've not done it as much this year because Sportograph also helps out from that point of view, because Sportograph have the best of pictures as well that they're happy for people to share and stuff like that. But they always did it after every event. They'd send us a drive with all the pictures in, and they did it for World Champs. So that's why on the day after Nice, I had a lot of pictures ready to go. And again, that gave a lot of love. And I appreciate that when you're running a race, and it's easy for me on the outside looking in, and Alan, you know this firsthand, helping out someone you barely know who runs a media account that you may not follow isn't top of your priority list, but if it takes 5 minutes out of your day and it helps you, it's a good thing.
Yeah, definitely. Well, we're talking about promotion stuff. Let's give a shout out to all the races that are coming up soon.
Absolutely. Let's do that, Alan. You got a list?
I know some of them off the top of my head. I mentioned Total Warrior because we've got that on his list here. So Total Warrior is happening very, very soon. We have got the British Champs, if I remember rightly. That's coming up very shortly. Ruled Rampage, which are in the league, which is in the UKOCR league. What else have we got? Come on, Ian.
Well, we've got loads of tough mudders coming up as well, haven't we? Europe's toughest mudders just around the corner, and you were telling me there's quite a few events before we get there.
Yeah, so I think we've got we've got Midlands first, then we've got Manchester. I'm at Midlands on the Sunday. So are you at Midlands?
I'm not sure. Which weekend is it again?
I believe it's the 7th or the 8th. Now you're going to get my calendar out now, aren't you? Might be even before then. 7th and 8th doesn't ring a bell, but it's the first weekend. So, 7th. I'm there 7th. Sunday, 7th of June.
7th of June? Oh, God. Are we taking a DeLorean?
July.
Sorry.
Yeah, 7th of July, I'm there. Me, Harley, and Paula are going round together.
I just thought, of course, it's the 7th of July because it's a week after Spartan is there, because why wouldn't it be?
Yes, which are the British champs and everything else, which is all good.
Well, that same weekend, Alan, we have got Henry Cook is putting on his ninja competition, which is always fun in Liverpool. So if you're not at Midlands and you want to test out how good you are when it comes to rigs and that kind of thing, definitely check out Henry's event. You mentioned Rude Rampage already, which is 14th of July. So if you can go to that, please do, because it's a series race and it's a smaller race. It really does need the groundswell of support, doesn't it?
It does. Definitely. Them smaller races need it as well. So talking of smaller races that are not quite small anymore, Mud Monsters is back this weekend.
I was wondering about this. Is it going to have that horrible rig?
I don't know. If anyone's going, let us know, because I would be interested.
You know, didn't you?
Yes.
You know the rig.
I know the rig. It's caused a lot of talk last time it was out there. So yeah, I don't know if it's going to be there. I've been following Mud Monsters for a long, long time. And things like that. And I know they've come back with it this year. I think they've stopped doing the 4x4. So someone's informed me that they've stopped doing the 4x4 down there. And they're now going to, from my understanding, they're going to go back into OCR. So this could be the first of many, hopefully.
Fingers crossed. And then we can have a UK Champs Fair.
And
then have the Ninja Rings, and we're back to 2017.
They used to be part of the OCR Community League. Do you remember years ago when myself and Ramron got involved in the OCR Community League, which was the first dabble into a league? They were part of that. So they were because we split the UK into five areas, and each area had top three from each area came to play in the finals at Ramron. And they were one of the southern events. So yeah, it was good.
I remember that. Here is a little bit of trip in memory lane, because we didn't really know each other back then, because you were like super impressive in the whole OCR sphere, and I was a little bitty rookie who, was still hanging out with my friends from back home. We actually volunteered at that event.
Did you volunteer at the UKOCR Community Championship phase?
We did. Me and Jen and a few friends from around here, we volunteered. I want to say we were kind of in the woods near the 4x4 type section where people were just running around.
That 4x4 section was probably one of the toughest sections of them all. And then you went over the river, which was so fast flowing.
You absolutely did. And yeah, so I was there. And here's another interesting fact. Well, interesting to me and probably to you. Whilst we were waiting for the race to start, we had a bit of time, and they all went off somewhere. So I put a podcast on. Guess what podcast I put on?
I'm going to say it was Matt B. Davis's weekly show.
It was Matt B. Davis pre-weekly show. It was actually his 100th episode.
Oh, wow. Wow.
And I remember it because he was interviewing the guys from Red Frog Events who did, I want to say, Warrior Dash back in the day. And it was a terrible interview. It was horrible because these guys were just suits, for like a better description. And I felt so sorry for Matt because he obviously had something good planned. And yeah, it was excruciating, but it's just interesting the way things went. We were meant to run the next day because you remember, as always, you gave volunteers a race.
Yeah, always. I'm a big fan of that, Ian, and I said it all along. It's great if you can let volunteers run same day or next day. I think that's the way forward. I potentially think as well, I was thinking about this the other day with Tough Mudder, and Rat Race did it, I believe, a few years ago with the Dirty Weekend. So they had several shifts. So they had a Friday night shift at Rat Race Dirty Weekend where you went Friday night, you could run Saturday. But then on the Saturday, they also had 2 half-day shifts. So they had a full shift where you got a free Rat Race voucher for any race you wanted. But they also had 2 half-day shifts. And I'm certain that if you volunteered for the afternoon shift and paid for your race ticket for the morning, you then got a refund once you'd done your afternoon shift on a Saturday.
Oh, no, that's interesting. And Tough Mudder, did you do something similar? Because I remember them saying back in the day, they used to have adverts out as you were leaving on Saturday saying, do you want your race for free? Come and volunteer tomorrow.
Right. And then they give you your money back for the Saturday.
They would indeed, which I always thought was quite clever. And I know High Rocks isn't exactly desperate for volunteers, but with them now doing 3-day events, I wonder if they could do that, because I have a suspicion that their Friday events, because they're doing them Fridays as well, I have a suspicion they're going to struggle with volunteers. And I wonder if they could do a deal whereby you volunteer on the Friday and you can then race the Saturday and Sunday, depending on your division.
Yeah. Because we do need more volunteers. The volunteers have dropped quite drastically from when it first came out, and we got, I said quite drastically, I think it's about a 25% decrease from before. It's always more of a challenge to get volunteers in, where before you just put the word out and you instantly got 50 people, volunteer for you and things like that. So yeah, it's a
It is.
challenge.
And you know what the real challenge is? It's not necessarily numbers, it's getting people coming back. And there's probably a far greater podcast in there. But what I did find when I did a shift at High Rocks was the number of people who were there for the first time. I know I was there for the first time, but it wasn't my first exposure to High Rocks. And I sometimes find that with Tough Mudder as well. You see lots of people there for the first time, which is why people like Grumpy, people like the Joyces, I'm going to forget people as we go through this. People like Lindsay McEwen, people like Martin Gemmell, people like Mike Moussard, and people like Kev Calder, and of course Shell and B and everyone that they need to be protected at all costs.
Yeah, yeah. If it wasn't for people out, we wouldn't be able to put events wouldn't go ahead. You need the people out that give their time. You know, there's a lot more. Mike Nolan, Matt Kirk. You know, and we're going to miss loads off. People know they are. Wendy Brothers, great person. Claire who does our bits. You know what I mean? It's people like that who are just there and helping out. Absolutely amazing.
They absolutely are. And if you're a long-term volunteer and you can kind of show you're a long-term volunteer, let's do this, Alan. Any long-term volunteers can get in the pub.
Yes, yes, definitely. We'll let you in the pub. It is up. Admin at UKOCR.com. Tell us the events that you volunteered at, and we will. If we believe that you've met a minimum requirement that me and Ian are going to set, we'll let you in the pub. And it won't be a big minimum requirement. It'll just be quite easy.
No, but no, absolutely. But volunteers need to be protected at all costs. People like Kelly Spalding, for example, Alan, who just came and helped you out, because they're the people as a smaller race that Overlord relies on, because you're not going to get people who are perhaps doing it for college credit. You rely on the people who are in the community.
Without a doubt, we need people out all along. If we didn't get people out, it wouldn't happen, would it? Any event wouldn't. So
no, because then you'd be relying on Rob, and everyone would get lost.
Yeah, yeah. Or you'd be paying for volunteers, and not many races can afford to be paying minimum wage. You know, if you have at Overload, for instance, we have on average 30 volunteers. So 30 volunteers all doing a 3-hour shift. You know, so that's 90 hours of work. That's £1,000. You know, on volunteers. You know, and that's just for a short shift.
It soon adds up, doesn't it?
Yeah, massively adds up. Massively adds up.
While we're speaking about volunteers,
yes.
Have we got anything else to say about the OCR European Champs?
No, just massive well done to everyone. Like I said, thanks to Claire, thanks to Wendy, and everyone else who was out there. If we haven't given you a shout out because she was in age group and things like that, we did put some posts out, thanks to Wendy and that. But you all did absolutely amazing and did the UK proud. Thank you.
Right. Well, while we're still talking about volunteers, let's talk about Tough Mudder Scotland, because I put something cryptic on our notes this week, didn't I?
Yeah, and you won't tell me what it is. Can I tell people what it says on the notes?
Of course you can.
Kevin and Martin upgrades.
Yes. Kevin and Martin had a very special job at Tough Mudder Scotland.
They were upgrading?
Yes, they were, but not the nice kind of upgrade. They were at the point of a Tough Mudder course where what I will call the 5K or whatever they're calling it now went one way, and the full course went the other way, and we're offering out free upgrades to anyone doing the 5K to go and do the full.
Oh, so anyone who signed up for the 5K, they were just saying go and do the full?
They were. I should point out, this was Tough Mudder's idea. This wasn't Martin and Kevin banditing races for people. But yeah, they were asked. It was a special one-time only deal. Well, until Tough Mudder do it again, but a one-time only deal, as we imagine, in Scotland, getting people who signed up to 5K, if they wanted to do the full.
Oh man, that's pretty cool. And were they doing it on the course, or were they actually just doing it at registration? What was the
they were doing it on the course at the point where you could change. So similar to you and Jamie at Farmyard Jam when you try and get people to stop, they were doing the reverse of trying to get people to do more.
Oh, man, that's amazing. So imagine though, I've got this vision in my head, mate. So I've signed up for 5K. Yeah, I've got my family waiting back at the event village. And then Martin and Kev say, "Do you want to do a 10-miler?" Of course I'm going to do a 10-miler because that's just me. Yeah. So I'm now out there, instead of 5K, 40 minutes, I'm out there for 10 miles, maybe 2 hours. My family's back there. My family's going to be panicking. I'm not going to be back. Oh, that's hilarious, Ian. That's absolutely so funny.
It is, and it's kind of one of them things that it's the old spirit of Tough Mudder, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. Pushing people. I do like that. I like, I've said this about Giles, he's putting changes into Tough Mudder that I like. You know what I mean? I think it needs more of the changes, and this is more of the media to know about it as well. You know what I mean? That's great that happened, but let the media know.
No, absolutely. And they did. They told us after, and it was a surprise. So you probably didn't want to publish this. And I can appreciate the other side of this coin of people who signed up to a full thinking, oh, well, they didn't pay as much as me. But it was a one-time deal. And at the end of the day, there's a good chance that most of the people doing the full, it was probably cheaper when they signed up than the 5Kers paid. Because as we see, Alan, people who do the full sign up really early or they're on a volunteer card. And it's people who are doing the 5K who are probably paying the same as a full because they sign up with a week to go.
Be interesting to see how much they're offering this year, Ian, for entries, because I haven't done a Tough Mudder yet this year. But I know when you do it normally, you then get quite often, and the offers have been about £50, £60 the last few years if you sign up the week after you've done it, isn't it?
I believe so. And you know what, Alan? I can't remember the last time I did a Tough Mudder.
Ian, you're letting me down now.
It was probably that year I introduced you to Tough Mudders.
It probably is. Yeah, because I'd only done 2 before I met you, and both times I was like, yeah, it's all right, but it's nothing super. But now I'm a fan now. I'm enjoying them. But I think that's because I'm also running further, and I think I'm enjoying it more because I'm now running further. Where back then when I did my initial 2, I was a 10K runner. You wouldn't see me at many events more than 10K.
No, that's true. But yeah, thinking about it, I haven't done a Tough Mudder in ages. I'm going to get kicked off this podcast at this rate. But yeah, I'll have to look into it. And it's weird to me that I don't even have any volunteer cords. This isn't a plea for volunteer cords. I've just realised that this is probably the first ever year, because I think I still had some volunteer cords last year that, you paid forward, which I probably never used. And I was always ahead in volunteer cords because I'd always volunteer at my last event and that would then pay for the next one. Yeah, oh my God, that's a weird realization. It's a good job it's just you and me, Alan, and no one else is listening.
No one else is listening. While we're talking about Tough Mudder Scotland, it was also part of the Endurance League. So we have some results. Women's, first we'll go women's. First, Jackie Baugh, or Bach, I'm not sure how you pronounce that, Baugh. Ruth Battersea second, and Libby Joyce third. So big well done to them. In the men's, the first place, most people know, I think he won ETM last year, Grant Thompson. I'm sure he won ETM last year. Yeah.
I think you're right.
Second, Peter Gleeson, and third, Sean Cohen. Interesting though, Ian, Grant, who won the men's, only, and I say only, okay, now I said that loosely, all right, because it's still a great mileage, 43.9 miles. That's less than we have been seen on Infinity Series.
Yeah, but I do remember the Scottish course, and it's not fun. It's up and down. I could imagine that you won't be getting that many laps. But for all its up and downs, as our good friend Graham showed us, and Graham Wells in the pub, we were talking last week about the castle, weren't we? The castle became a photo opportunity.
Yes, I saw that. Loads of photos.
And it did look good with it behind you. It did. And saying that, I think Graham was wearing a purple bib, so he was obviously slacking. He could have caught Grant.
Yeah. Didn't even get 37. Didn't even do a marathon. Oh, no. I've got 37 miles, not 37 kilometers, 37 miles. Was second and third in the men's. So great results there. Mixed things up in the Endurance League. Hopefully, we'll have all the results up for next week or the week after, and we'll give you the standings as they are.
Absolutely. Oh, while we still talking about Tough Mudder news, I got sent. You remember we talked about the swag that you can get from Tough Mudder?
Yes, the medals.
Yeah, and the volunteer swag.
Oh, the volunteer swag, yes.
They put it together as a nice little pyramid called Points Mean Prizes, which they put up. So, like, you get your sunglasses at 10 points, bucket hat at 10 points, a virtual partner goodie bag, which I presume will be all the deals that they get sent out. Hopefully, slightly better than the usual stuff we get sent. You then get socks at 20 points, flask at 20, gloves at 30, a slim power bank at 30, which is always good, a running belt at 40 points, and a backpack, Alan, at 50 points. So I will say bravo to Tough Mudder again for this, because we don't really need the same stuff. And this does encourage you to go back.
Yeah. I know what Tough Mudder should do. They should send us one of them packs to raffle off.
You're right, Alan. They should send us free packs so we can raffle off one.
Yes, exactly. My thoughts too. I like that. Talking of endurance runners, though, touching on that endurance bit, this was the spine race again this week, Ian. And we have, so the summer spine race, you know that I always follow the spine race because it starts less than 15 miles, 20 miles from where I live. So I'm a big fan of the spine race. It's on my bucket list. And the summer spine race this year was won by Chris Cope. In a time of 79 hours, 268 miles, 79 hours.
It's just getting quicker and quicker.
Absolutely crazy. And I mean, it's probably been great conditions for it, little bit of rain, little bit of damp. But from my understanding, I don't know if this is tongue in cheek, but when he was interviewed at the finish line, he basically said he's going to go and do it again. Straight afterwards, he's going to catch it back down and do it again because he wants to do it again, do it twice.
Why?
Oh, I don't know. But one thing that is interesting about him winning it, and this is, we talk about athletes with a story. At the age of 14, he was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes. And he's done this amazing effort. He's done it to raise money and charity and that. But yeah, I think that's great that someone who's been diagnosed with a disease or a condition like type 1 diabetes and then can still go out and do these amazing feats. It's a bit of a wake-up call, I think, for some people out there that, you might be thinking, I can't do things. Well, you can. Yeah, you can go further. I never thought I could run more than 10K until I started training for longer distances, and now a race that's under 20 miles for me is not really a race anymore.
No, except when Neil drops you off 50 miles from your house.
Exactly. You put an interesting one on there. What's this about a man walking from Manchester to Ibiza?
Yeah, it was quite an interesting thing that just popped up on my feed, as often happens. Henry Moores started in Macclesfield, so not quite Manchester, but close enough. Are we really going to argue over 20 miles or so? But he started in Mac, and he walked all the way from Mac all the way to Ibiza. He caught a ferry between Spain and Ibiza. He didn't walk on water. It's not that kind of story. But he did it in, how long ago was it? 66 days, I want to say?
66 days. He raised £130,000, which is absolutely amazing. It covered 1,400 miles, which is 2,200 kilometers. 22-year-old.
22, raising money for a great charity, the Tony Hucknall Foundation. Sorry, I butchered that, and it's a charity, but go and have a look at it. But it was a kid who had both their legs amputated following abuse as a baby by the birth parents.
Yeah, amazing. A young lad like that raising money for a great charity. Always love a good story like that.
I love stories like that, particularly say when it's someone who is, younger than 30, because this is a cliche, but we always seem to get a little bit more charity focused as we get older, probably because we're hoping one day someone will help out our care home. So it's always nice to see youngsters, and there are lots of youngsters out there who do stuff for charity. But when it gets press coverage like this, it encourages more people.
Exactly, exactly. And this is what we talk about pressing. More pressing everything is just encouraging more people to do something.
Exactly. And speaking of someone doing 1,400 miles, I think that is your target for the Escape from Meridian, if I'm correct. How's your training going?
It's going all right. And apart from last week, so I was doing the first 2 weeks, absolutely smashing the distances that it was asking me to do. I even got Paula doing hill sprints, which was interesting. And she did much better than I thought she was going to be. So big well done to Paula there. It's been going really, really well. However, I picked up an injury last Thursday. My left Achilles tendon, which I've suffered within the past, got all inflamed and it just became really difficult to run. So when I went out on Saturday morning, which was our plan was only a 5 mile run, I literally got 200 meters down the road and I could really feel it flaring up. And I just thought, right, I need to like rest it. So a bit of rest, ice, compress and elevate. Worked well. So I then went out Tuesday this week. So I'd not run for about 4 or 5 days. Did 9 miler at a 9 minute 15 pace. I think it was a 9 minute 15 mile pace. So it was nice and steady. Felt really easy. Felt really, really good. Woke up again this morning. So a couple of days after, it's a little bit inflamed still. So it's up and down at the moment. But yeah, we're going to get there. In. We've got 17 weeks, I think, to get to the training plan that I'm doing. So I've got a training plan. It's on UKOCR.com if anyone wants to use it. It is from Innovate. Innovate sent it me. It's their training plan to get to 100 miles. It's a 17-week plan. But I'm using it to do the Sea to Summit at Scaffold Pike. So my 17 weeks takes me to that point. So yeah, I'm onto it. I'm determined Escape from Meriden is going to be 100 miles. I guess it's the motivation as well for me, having a training plan, because I've never had a training plan before. And, we talk about losing motivation. I've got it up on my wall at work. So at my little desk at work, I've got it on the wall there. I've got it on my wall in my office. My training plan's constantly there, and I'm trying to do it every time, every week. And it's interesting as well because it's not just running in. There's some walking involved in it. It does actually say go for a 4 mile or a 4 hour or a 5 hour walk on a couple of times. So it's interesting. It's an interesting training plan.
I do like training plans like that, which isn't just run, run, run. And as you know, I'm currently training with Tom and Tom Hogan, that is, and the plans he sets me are varied, but they're also familiar enough, if that makes sense. So, for example, the in the gym stuff, I've gone on plans where the in the gym stuff changes every week. I've been blessed with some great coaches in past. So, say currently with Tom Hogan. Before that, I was with Heather and Neil Raby, who are great coaches. If you happen to be in Bolton and look them up, they're more triathlon coaches, but they also do hybrid stuff as well. So I would completely agree. You need a plan to get anywhere, and a variety into the plan is the most important thing. And in fact, Neil and Heather Raby, they put in power walks in a lot. Even though I was marathon training, they would put in 30 to an hour, so 30 minutes to an hour, just power walk and see how far you get. And that was great because I could do that like at work as well. So it wasn't eating into my day.
And I love that. I mean, I walk 4 times a week. So I do 3 miles 4 times a week, taking the dog for a walk. And I love going for a walk, especially in the morning. It clears your head.
It does. And that was exactly it because I'd usually be up early. I could just then fit it in. And problem with some kind of training is getting hot and sweaty and you're going to have a shower anyway, but you then feel a bit exhausted. So having like a walk day, you could just do it in the morning. It wouldn't impact you. Interesting you mentioned about injuries as well. Are injuries funny?
Well, at my age, and I don't find the injuries funny at my age anymore. When I was 10, 12 years ago, yeah, I could recover from them quite quickly. Now I'm struggled to recover from them at any pace whatsoever.
I didn't mean funny, haha. I meant peculiar funny.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
I've been struggling with my knee for a bit.
Yes.
Today, I went and did my strength set at the gym, and part of that was step ups. Okay,
Yeah.
so 24-inch box step ups, and I did the first step up, and it was so weird. I couldn't feel my knee, as in there was no pain there, and it's almost like yesterday my knee was hurting. Today my knee's fine. How peculiar is that?
Oh, wow. That is strange. That is strange. Do you think? I'm probably the best person to ask would be Becky Neal because she's like a doctorate and does these type of research things. But do you think what you eat and how much you train on what you eat affects your body in certain ways? And I'm the way I'm saying this is because I'm also trying to diet. Okay, so I've been trying to diet for a while now. I've lost a stone from where I were 4 or 5 months ago. I'm down by just over a stone now. But when I was bigger, I didn't run as fast. Yeah, I'll say this. I can say this. I wasn't running as fast. I wasn't suffering from injuries. Yeah. Now I've lost the weight. I've increased my mileage slightly. I'm eating different food, and I'm running a little bit faster. Now the injuries are starting to come back again a little bit, and not major injuries. We're not talking about. We're talking about my inflamed Achilles tendon. Strange that it's inflamed because you think when I was heavier, I was putting more pressure on it and things like that. Now I'm a bit lighter, only a stone lighter, but you're thinking I'm still lighter, so therefore why is it hurting as much? I don't know. That'd be interesting to know. Long-term study from Becky there, I think.
I'd be interested to know because my diet is terrible anyway. It's a northern diet, and I've never thought of linking it back, but I have been eating a little bit more healthier recently compared to how I was when it was really hurting. Not traumatic. It's still a northern diet. There's still far too many carbs, not enough fresh fruit and veg, but it is slightly healthier because there's less of it.
Yeah, yeah, I get that. Be very, very interested to see where we're going. I know we're going to go in a minute, Ian, but I want to just quickly shout out to someone. So I am doing a little bit of research. So I've been asked by a few racers, by the way, why aren't people signing up earlier to events? So when the early bird price is out, why aren't people signing up? If you are someone who waits until the last month or the last week to sign up, when you're sometimes paying twice as much money as an early bird, can you reach out and just drop me a reason why? You can send it privately. I'll not mention your name. I'm just trying to collect a few reasons for people as to why. So, and this is not for me. This is not me that's been asked to do this. I've been asked to do this on behalf of someone else. So please reach out. admin@ukocr.com. Hit me up at Alan Moore on Facebook or UKOCR on Facebook. Whatever you want to do, drop me a message. Drop me a voice message if you want to do that rather than a text or a written message. Just let me know. And then who knows? You never know what's going to happen. But someone just asked me, and I'm interested as well.
I am. I've got my reason, but I'm going to keep it to myself because I don't want to give my reason that then sets an agenda for everyone else to just give it out. So can we pick up on this maybe, I don't know, in 4 to 5 weeks, Alan, if we remember that? And I can give my reason because I am very much someone who is a last minute Larry when it comes to, well, know me. It took me, I might have bought the last UKOCR tickets the awards do.
Yeah, it is things like that, but it's, everyone's got their own thing. It might be because they're just forgetful and they don't want to sign up early. It might be because they don't know what they're doing that weekend. There's a lot of reasons out there, and everyone's going to have their own reasons. There's no right or wrong reasons. It's just, I just remember a time when we were talking about this is what the conversation was about. It was like back in the day, a race ended, you got an email the following week saying, sign up now, early bird price, you'll never get any cheaper. And yeah, I used to sign up for them, and I used to sign up for races at 30 quid. You know, come on the day, you were paying 60 and 70 quid. And you probably still are in some of them races. Now, I don't know many of them because I don't sort of, the races I do, I probably signed up 6 months before. I'm not getting an early bird price. I'm getting a middle of the road price, I guess, me personally. But I definitely don't leave it late because I do like to plan. But I know there's other people who don't do it that way. So just let me know.
It's fascinating. I'm actually going to explore a little bit of my reasoning, if that makes sense, Alan, in that there might be some self-reflection. Because when you're saying that, I'm thinking back to probably 2017, 2018 Christmas. No, probably 2017. And I was sat in a pub in Manchester. I know that's shocking to anyone listening to this. Why would I be in a pub? But I was sat in a pub in Manchester. We just done our Christmas shopping, and me and Jen got out. I want to say it was probably a UKOCR website, and we were going through a calendar and deciding what our race calendar would be for the next year.
Yeah.
And I don't do that anymore. I'm not sure if anyone else does.
Yeah. And there might be other reasons. I know some of the elites don't sign up because they want to know where the big races are going to be and things like that. And I get that, you know. So just let me know. I just find it interesting. So lots of ways you can reach out to me. If you want to do it public, do it public. If you want to do it private, do it private. One way or another, just let me know. I'll not use your names. I'll not share any names with anyone. And I promise we'll not market you either. It's just an interesting topic.
It's a fascinating topic. One race, though, going to the other direction, one race which is not having this problem is the Deadly Dozen, which is putting on 4 fitness races this year, and it's all sold out now, Alan, although they are going to look at potentially releasing further tickets. They kept the race as small as they could make it, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So they kept it as small with small waves, and I want to say probably about the same schedule as you have at Overlord. So I want to say it's going to be a 3 or 4 hour type thing. I think it might be a bit more than that. I think it might start at 9, last waves maybe 2, but it's not an all day thing. So they're completely sold out. But Alan, it's the first race this weekend, and we will be there.
Oh, awesome. Will we see some live footage on Instagram?
We will. We'll go on Instagram Live. The first race is at 9 o'clock. People at the pub know this, but we were going back and forth on exactly what we can do because of the small waves. It's not going to be a race to the extent that High Rocks is, because it's going to be a time trial of sorts. But we will follow the first wave. If it becomes a race out of some of the 6 people that are running in that first wave, great. If not, what it will be is a great opportunity to see this new race. And if you're an OCR, see whether this is a little bit of you, because it does kind of fit in a little bit of that grey area where OCR merges into High Rocks, because it's functional fitness, but it's outside on a track and you're playing around in the grass.
Sounds perfect.
Yeah, and you're doing functional exercises which involve lifting heavy stuff and moving heavy stuff. So it's like Spartan, but without the spear throw.
I like that. No spear throws. And but to remind people as well, this is not on UKOCR. This is on UKHXR Fitness Racing Instagram, not UKOCR.
Yes, so go on the fitness racing from probably 9 o'clock, and we should have it live, providing, of course, I don't get too close to a speaker and get kicked off of Instagram.
Cool. Liking it. I might do some of that. I'm working Saturday morning, so then I've got nothing better to do than watch Instagram. So you might find me as a oh, I shouldn't be saying that. Should I live? It's just me and you here. No one else is listening.
No one else is listening. No one else is listening, Alan. Right. And I guess on that, we're all out of notes. So it's goodbye from me.
Ian, as always, it's been a pleasure. Listeners, it has been a pleasure again chatting to Ian. Yeah, if I'm back next week and I haven't got lost, fantastic. If I'm not back next week, someone send a party out for me. But in the meantime, you stay safe, you keep on running, and we'll speak to you all soon. Bye.